Camp, Josh and Trayvon have been, their pressure rate is pretty high this year. Just what does having guys like that do for the defense in terms of what you can do now that because you have players like that on the edge?
It definitely gives you more options, obviously, with their ability, their athleticism. But I think it's just more they've been working so hard during the practices, and that's showing up in the games. And I think when your hardest workers, some of your best players are your hardest workers, that's real positive for everybody overall in the defense. So, but it definitely gives you more options in terms of coverage.
What sort of challenges does that San Francisco offense present?
Yeah, a lot. They do a great job in the run game, play action pass. I haven't played them in the past. I think they're as good as anybody when it comes to that. And they do a really good job in the drop back game, constant movement before the snap, and just the motions, making sure everybody's on the same page, communication, getting lined up. So, yeah, they present a lot of issues.
What have you gotten from Travis Hunter on the defensive side?
I think Travis, like I said last week, he gives us another great athlete that's got ball skills back there. I think he's progressing, getting better every week. And I think he did a good job, some of the man-to-man coverage stuff last week and some of his own coverage. I thought he did a good job tackling as well. So we've gotten a bunch out of Travis. And like I said, looking forward to him progressing as we move forward.
How unique is McCaffrey, the receiving component of him?
Yeah, I mean, he's just if he was a receiver in general, you say this guy's a really good receiver, and he's a great back. So I think he's as good as there is at that position in terms of catching the ball in the backfield and presenting issues in the pass game. Yeah, he's special.
Devin Lloyd's sort of been excelling the last few weeks. Just what have you seen from him, and how does he fit into the scheme, or why do you feel like he fits so well?
Yeah, I think Dev is just a really physical guy, and he's blessed with a multiple skill set. I talked about that a little bit in the summer and sometimes in the spring when we had talked about personnel and defensive structure. He gives you the opportunity to do some different things on defense because he can rush the passer, and he's done a good job in pass coverage as well. I think he's playing really physical in the run game, and so overall, I just think he's really doing a good job for us, and pleased with his effort and everything to this point.
What makes a Shanahan scheme just difficult to defend? Just what they do schematically?
A lot of what I just said before, though, like the pre-snap movement, and they're really well coached up front. That's kind of a staple of all his teams. I feel like I think the backs do a great job of running the ball one hole at a time. And if you leave a crease in there, they're going to take it. But they are well trained and well coached at the running back position, offensive line. I think one of the things that shows up with those teams over the years is the tight ends and receivers block. They do the dirty work, and that's usually a staple of any team that runs the ball well. They do a good job, making their play action pass stuff look like the run game, as good as anybody.
And then Tyson's play, forcing the fumble against Nico, is that kind of the epitome of the things you guys been preaching since you got here?
That's what we're talking about all the time, and I think that just speaks to him as a player and a person, though. You know what I mean? Bouncing back the next series and making a huge play for us, but constantly attacking the ball, believing that you're going to create takeaways, and the work that he's been doing in practice, showing up right there in the moment, was huge for him, and I think huge for our team. It was great.
Last week we were talking about getting Antonio Johnson into the rotation a little bit more. He comes up with the game-ending interception. I mean, how much confidence does that give you in him?
Yeah, I think everybody here has confidence in Antonio. Like I said last week, we were talking about him. He's a big athletic guy with ball skills. He's physical. He'll tackle you. And he loves football, so he's in here doing extra. He's in here every morning, studying and preparing. So I'm just happy for him that he was rewarded that way because he's been doing the work. So we're excited for him. But he really is doing a good job.
Coach Cohen talked about it taking a few weeks to figure out what the offense is good at. Does it take the same amount of time on the defense to figure out just what this group is good at?
Yeah, I think I said this a couple weeks ago. You guys were asking something similar, and just over such a long season, over the course of the season, you kind of figure out who you are. You have a great idea and a plan of what you want to be, but the players really can dictate that sometimes. Their abilities and talents, trying to utilize them as best you can to put you in the best situation or be the best defense you can be. you're definitely growing and learning every week. You know, hey, we do this well. We seem to really have a good feel for this. Let's kind of expand on this, and I think that's something that can help us. So you're definitely learning every week of who you are. Yeah, for sure.
When you have Green and Striegel who haven't played yet, how do you gauge their improvement in practice that say maybe they do have a merit a shot?
Yeah, like we watch everything. We watch you know, the defensive scout reps as well, and then getting them opportunities out there with our guys when the defense is going. So that's, I think Matt Edwards has done a great job of that, just kind of rolling guys into practice and making sure they're in competitive situations, and we're really keeping an eye on that, their progression, you know, to get them where we want them to be.
Do you prepare for both quarterbacks for the 49ers, and if so, does that make it more difficult of a challenge to get ready for this week?
Anytime that's the case, it certainly is a bit of a challenge, you know, but we're definitely preparing for both guys. You know, and both guys are good players, so I've coached against both of the players in the past and have a ton of respect for them. And they both have a great skill set at the position, so both super smart guys. But it definitely does, you know, you're kind of splitting a little bit of time watching both guys, and you'll have to have a plan for both of them for sure.
When you mentioned facing San Francisco last year, at the beginning of the week, looking at those notes, is it a big resource, little resource, no resource?
No, it's definitely a resource. You know, like anything, anytime you play a team, you're always looking back at that and what you did well, what you didn't do well. I'm sure they're doing the same. So, yeah, it's definitely a resource.
How do you decide what like motivational tool you're gonna go with for the day? I've heard the guys talk to you. You go a few different routes. Some of them National Geographic type videos. Like, how do you
Yeah,
find
I
this?
once. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just knowing your guys, and then hopefully you're just being yourself. You know what I mean? And if you find something that you think is a great example of what you're talking about, and you feel like it's something that will drive the point home to the players, yeah, well, it doesn't matter from where. You know, it could be anything. And I think sometimes it's always good to get those messages from outside sources and things that guys, it'll resonate with guys because it's stuff they see every day.
Defense is a success so early. What do you just credit that to?
The players, we have good players, honestly. That's number one. And we have guys that really care. They're trying so hard to get it right. They're very honest with each other, and they're honest with me, and that helps. That helps me, you know, because I don't think anything gets better without honesty. There's no job or there's no relationship in the world that you know, honesty can't help you with. So that's the number one thing, you know, for them to be able to be transparent with me and myself with them and with each other, you know. They're kind of counting on each other, pouring into each other every day, and they're all selling out for each other, not on each other. And I think that's what I would attribute any of the success to those guys, to the players.
You guys have only known each other for a couple months then. How did you build that trust so early?
I just think we did a great job of building the roster here, and there was a lot of, you know, good people. Like, we got good players, but we got really good people. They're good guys. Like, if you can't coach these guys, you shouldn't coach. You know, they're really easy to coach because they work hard. There's never any like complaining about, hey, this is really hard. This is not. Like, try and practice physical every day. Demand of them. Demand, you know, great attention to detail in the meetings and in the walkthroughs and everything. And if you have good veteran leadership like we have here, I think that's much easier to do. And to me, that's player led.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.